season's now complete. As you look back at everything that you accomplished this year, what are your takeaways from the inaugural season?
I think that's a great question. I think the initial takeaways are we got through it and we had some success. We didn't reach our goal of making the playoffs, which was our goal from day one, and that's obviously disappointing. We've had some exit meeting todays with some players, but I do think we've created a foundation of good things to be built on top of.
What are some things that you're most proud of that maybe you were seeing as goals entering the season, or maybe something that you didn't know was going to happen that you were proud of?
I would say a few of the wins that we had were obviously connecting with the community and the crowds that were coming out to Grossinger Motor Arena to support us. And then even some of our skates on Sundays after our games with the community, and just seeing our players connect with the community in such a short period of time in our inaugural season. So I think those were some of the wins that I was very honored to be witness to. And then I think on the ice, having, players become almost instant fan favorites, whether that's a Chung-Min Lee or an Eddie Matsushima, maybe to a lesser extent Jake Murray, but just the way to see his growth as a player. And, and then our ability to, even though we did make a ton of transactions this year, more so, and that's what I shared with the players today, that will not be, the norm going forward. But we needed to bring in, the right players that we could create that foundation for success moving forward.
What was the relationship like with the New York Rangers this year? I know that we are the development stage for them, so how was the conversations? How was their players that they owned in their eyes?
I'm glad you asked me that. It was really incredible to work with Ryan Martin. I think he's a first-class individual, and he does a really good job up there. And, our ability to, cultivate our relationship from essentially not knowing each other, I think that serves a real good purpose here going forward, where together, again, we can build something really special here in Bloomington. I really appreciated his professionalism, his candor, and he was available to me, whenever we needed, to discuss any certain issues.
And I don't want to discount Carolina and ask you the question about Hartford, New York. I want to ask the same thing about Carolina and Chicago. We had 4 other players come this year.
Yeah, Darren York was fantastic to work with. Very cerebral, very well thought out, easy to deal with, and again, just another first-class individual, and just, again, to be able to cultivate that relationship throughout the season and see where it started from that initial phone call where we didn't know each other to, the end of the season where, we feel very comfortable with one another is, again, it's one of the positive takeaways from this season for sure.
Can you help fans understand what happens next and how the off-season proceedings go?
Yeah, so it starts with today. We had the exit meetings with our players, and over the course of the summer, there's a protected list that we have to put together, which is the players that we're entitled to protect. From there, we'll narrow it down to our summer end of season summer roster, end of season summer roster templates, and then from there, we'll start building the team for next year.
Well, as you close this one out, I know we've talked endlessly about the fan base and the community, but just how it's gone this year for you when you hear the fans and you hear the chants, and maybe, what you're expecting for years to come with this organization. Just, an overall mind spill, if you will, about the community of Bloomington Normal.
Well, I think when we first got here, there was a lot of naysayers, and I think we turned a lot of those naysayers into fans. And from that, I think the fans that were coming out initially were the ones, beating the drum for us, and they were bringing other fans or potential fans. And I think to see the groundswell of support from the community over the last 6 or 7 months, it's really been humbling. and just the appreciation from the fans. And even like our last road game in Fort Wayne, we had at least a dozen fans on the road supporting us there. So, you know, to be witness to that and to see the foundation that we've been able to create in such a short period of time makes me, you know, very hopeful for things to come here in the next coming years.